The stories you'll hear here are bound by nothing but time itself. Welcome to Eternal Voices.
In the world of global trade, tariffs are often seen as a powerful tool for countries to assert control over their economic interests. At first glance, they appear to offer a straightforward solution to protecting domestic industries, ensuring national security, and generating government revenue. However, tariffs are not as simple as they may seem. They are a double-edged sword, simultaneously benefiting some sectors while hurting others. In the modern global economy, the far-reaching consequences of tariffs are felt by businesses, consumers, and even governments. Understanding the full impact of tariffs requires a deep dive into both their intended benefits and their potential drawbacks. The case for tariffs. Tariffs are taxes or duties imposed on imported goods, making foreign products more expensive in the domestic market. For governments, they serve a variety of purposes. One of the primary reasons for implementing tariffs is to protect local industries from foreign competition. By increasing the cost of imports, domestic companies are better positioned to thrive, as consumers are more likely to buy homegrown products instead of cheaper foreign alternatives. Additionally, tariffs can be a tool for achieving trade imbalances. Countries with large trade deficits may use tariffs as a way to reduce imports and, in theory, encourage domestic production, thereby balancing trade flows. For example, if a country is importing more than it exports, imposing tariffs on certain foreign goods may reduce the volume of imports, thereby boosting local production and reducing the deficit. Tariffs can also be used as leverage in trade negotiations. Countries may impose tariffs on specific products as a means to push for better trade agreements or to force other nations to make concessions. This tactic is commonly used in trade wars, where nations retaliate with tariffs to counteract each other's actions. The unintended consequences. While tariffs can protect domestic industries in the short term, the long-term effects are often more complicated. One of the most significant drawbacks of tariffs is that they can increase the cost of goods for consumers. When foreign products become more expensive, the cost is usually passed on to consumers. This results in higher prices for everyday items, from electronics to food products. For example, when tariffs are imposed on steel or aluminum imports, the cost of manufacturing products that rely on these materials, such as cars and appliances, can rise, leading to higher prices for consumers. Furthermore, tariffs can disrupt global supply chains, which have become increasingly interconnected. Companies that rely on importing raw materials or components from other countries may find that the cost of doing business increases when tariffs are introduced. This could force companies to raise their prices, reduce their profit margins, or even relocate production to avoid higher tariff costs. As a result, industries that were once competitive and integrated into the global economy may struggle to adapt to the new economic environment created by tariffs. The unintended consequence of tariffs often extends beyond just price hikes. Tariffs can create inefficiencies in the global market. With fewer choices available to consumers and limited access to cheaper foreign goods, markets may become less competitive. Domestic industries that are shielded from international competition may become complacent and less innovative, knowing that they don't have to face the pressure of competing with foreign alternatives. The impact on global relationships. While tariffs may seem like an isolated economic tool, their consequences extend far beyond national borders. Tariffs can lead to strained relationships between countries, particularly when they are used as a form of economic retaliation. A simple tariff imposed by one nation can lead to a chain reaction of retaliatory tariffs, escalating into a full-blown trade war. In recent years, we've seen the impact of this in various global trade disputes, such as the ongoing trade war between the United States and China. Tariffs on products like steel, automobiles, and electronics have created ripples across the global economy, with both countries imposing tariffs on billions of dollars worth of goods. The escalation of these tariff disputes not only affects the economies of the countries directly involved, but also other nations that depend on these trade relationships. Moreover, tariffs can undermine the broader goals of free trade agreements, FTAs, and organizations such as the World Trade Organization, WTO. The purpose of these international institutions is to encourage trade between nations by reducing barriers like tariffs. When countries unilaterally raise tariffs, it can undermine the multilateral trade system and result in fragmented markets, harming the global economy in the process. The role of technology and globalization. The rise of technology and the increasing interconnectedness of global markets add complexity to the discussion around tariffs. In today's digital age, where information, services, and products can be delivered across borders in a matter of seconds, traditional notions of tariffs are being challenged. E-commerce, for instance, allows businesses to source products and materials from anywhere in the world without significant barriers. Global supply chains, bolstered by technology and automation, have led to lower costs and greater efficiencies. As such, tariffs can distort these efficiencies, disrupting industries that rely on the free flow of goods and services. For instance, industries like technology, where components are often manufactured in different countries, can suffer significant setbacks if tariffs increase the costs of critical raw materials or finished goods. In addition, the increasing role of service-based industries such as finance, consulting, and software development means that the effects of tariffs on physical goods are less straightforward. Countries that rely on service exports may not be as directly impacted by tariffs on goods, but indirect consequences can still be felt, as international trade agreements and economic relationships often intertwine. The balancing act. Finding the right approach. The challenge of using tariffs as a tool for protecting domestic industries while maintaining a healthy global trade environment is a delicate balancing act. On one hand, tariffs can provide short-term protection for industries that are struggling against foreign competition. They can also raise much-needed revenue for governments, particularly in countries with limited tax bases. On the other hand, tariffs risk creating long-term inefficiencies and economic instability. They can harm consumers, reduce the availability of goods, and stifle innovation in protected industries. Moreover, in a highly interconnected global economy, tariffs can create friction between nations, leading to trade wars that can have far-reaching consequences. The key to using tariffs effectively lies in their strategic application. Governments must weigh the short-term benefits of protecting domestic industries against the broader economic implications of imposing trade barriers. They must also consider the impact of tariffs on international relations and work toward creating policies that foster cooperation rather than conflict. In conclusion, tariffs remain one of the most potent, yet controversial, tools in global trade. They are a double-edged sword, capable of shielding domestic industries and fostering economic growth in the short term, but also creating long-term consequences that can disrupt markets, harm consumers, and strain international relationships. In today's globalized world, where supply chains are increasingly interconnected and international relations are complex, the consequences of tariffs are felt far and wide. Understanding the full impact of tariffs is essential for policymakers, businesses, and consumers alike. Ultimately, tariffs should be used with caution, balancing national interests with the realities of an increasingly interdependent global economy. Trade is not just the exchange of goods, but the exchange of ideas, cultures, and opportunities. In a world of interconnected markets, our greatest strength lies in our ability to collaborate and innovate together.
The story doesn't end here. It's only waiting for the next chapter. Stay tuned for more from Eternal Voices.